Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here, and welcome to the first Imagineering video that we've done in like 2 months on the So You Want to Be an Imagineer channel. So, yeah, I apologize for the delay, but hopefully we'll be back and we'll be covering stuff again. So with me here is Space Mountain. Say hi, Space.
Hello, everyone. How you doing?
Thank you for not just saying hi, Space, because I've had that joke like done to me
Yeah,
so many times. It's annoying.
too
Like
tired for
Monkey,
that.
it's just like, say hi, Monkey. Hi, Monkey. Okay. So, Space, we are talking today about the choice, the WDWMagic Imagineering Competition that's kind of leading out this 2015 season. It's been really, really good so far. I think it's had a couple ups and downs, especially in terms of, I think the initial cast of, what was it, 21 people that signed up?
Yeah, it was a lot of people. 21.
And I can tell you from experience, So You Want to Be an Imagineer Season 8, we wanted to make it all-stars, so we did have 20 people, but then, like, right off the bat, like, 5 people dropped, and that pretty much is what happened here. But after that little stumbling block, after the whole stumbling block of early people dropping out, I think this game went super smoothly, and I think this was probably one of the better competitions to take place over the 2015 season.
Yeah, I agree, and it's been a really good season too. So there's been a lot of. It's really funny how far you've come in only a couple of years. You've gone from maybe finishing 1 or 2 comps a year to now having 4 full comps, and now the final Elite Eight, leading into the Elite Eight,
Not
and
to
they're
mention
all
stuff
finished.
like 1984, like
and then
side
just
competitions and stuff.
Side competitions like that. D Squared's the Great Disney Race. That happened in June, I think, May-ish. But yeah, overall, it's been a pretty good season. I think this has been a good competition for unique challenges too, which is something that Matt really wanted to do. I think he did a really good job with it.
And that's something that we strive on. So You Want to Be an Imagineer as well. We've done 12 seasons of So You Want to Be an Imagineer and not had one repeat project. So yeah, I really appreciated just how fresh and original all these project assignments were.
Yeah, he did. He really wanted to go unique with some, and some of them really made the contestants think about, what.
Is he frozen? I think he's frozen. Hello?
I am right here.
Oh, you froze for just a second. I'm sorry. It might be my laptop.
I'm sorry.
Aforementioned, my laptop is a Windows 10 equipped laptop that does not have a touch screen, which is entirely pointless. So I don't really trust it that much.
But yeah, I was just saying that Matt did a really good job coming up with some unique challenges and in a unique format too, because I don't think we've ever had a competition that had coaches on the teams for the pretty much, except for the last 2 challenges, the duration of the competition. It offers a unique perspective, I thought.
It was very much a meta game in terms of the players were all just competing amongst themselves and whatnot. But the coaches were also sort of competing in terms of like having bragging rights for, I picked the player that won. And by the way, with that in mind, Monorail Red, let's just give it up to her right now for her fucking kick-ass draft.
Oh yeah, she did really well with with her team. I think
3 of the final 4 were in her initial team. That's pretty damn impressive.
That is pretty good, and it also shows that
I also got D Squared. Yeah.
So. I know. Yeah, that's why he wanted you as the coach. He had first selection, and that's why he picked you.
That makes me feel really guilty because I have been super busy and I've only ever talked to him once. So I'm gonna try over the weekend to get involved more, but yeah. I'm sorry, D Squared. I'm really sorry.
There's still time. We got another, what is it? It's due on Wednesday. So we got another 6 days. Yeah, 6 days for a project that really doesn't require a lot of detail.
Sure.
It's more about the idea itself.
Yeah, over the weekend, I'm definitely going to try and help him more than I have already. But all right. Anyway, so generally, how we're going to break this down, this is going to be talking about the final 4 individually. what their games were like, and also kind of like what their presence was on the WDWMagic Imagineering competition scene in general through 2015. But first, in the most dramatic Julie Chen voice that I can muster, but first, you did mention that this has had a lot of unique challenges and a lot of unique assignments. So I thought we'd kind of highlight that by sort of going over the project list and just kind of briefly talking about all of them. So you want to do that right now?
Yeah, sure. So we can start. The first one was the Rock and Roller Coaster redo, where basically each of the 4 teams had to come up with, there were 5 genres. There was rap, EDM, rock, alternative, and pop. And they had to come up with a new band that fit that genre for each of those 5 selections. And I thought that was a really unique way of going about it, which actually took me a while to understand at first in the comp judges panel, because I was very confused as to how this was going to happen. But it ended up being really good. And there were even a few people who participated in it. I think one of the earlier exits, who I think he just ran out of time, was Tony the Tigger. I don't know. Was he on your team? I don't remember.
I don't think he was.
Yeah. I think he was on England's team, actually. He owned a record store. He owned a record store. So he loved that challenge for what it was worth.
That's awesome.
And he came up with really unique ideas for it. Unfortunately, his team wasn't able to submit that round, but the stuff that he had.
It was like me, where I'm the big music fan, and I had really good ideas, and yet we did not get to submit something.
It happens sometimes, but I did think that
I specifically remember that day I was in the library and I was like trying to get people to work on it without any knowledge whatsoever that it was due in like an hour. I was just totally oblivious to it.
I do remember that. You were like, "Oh, maybe we should add this in," and I was like,
"Right,
you guys had an hour, right?" It was pretty funny. I thought it was funny.
Let's see if I can remember correctly. My team came up with for rap we were going to do Kendrick Lamar. For rock I believe we were going to do Queen. I want to say.
I think you were going to do Queen, which ended up being the winner.
And then for EDM we were going to do Daft Punk. Did anyone else do Daft Punk?
They either did Daft Punk or Skrillex. I forget what Monorail Red's team did off the top of my head. I feel like they did Daft Punk, but I'm not gonna. Don't quote me on that.
Skrillex is a shallow imitator of Daft Punk. I'm sorry, I said it. I don't like Skrillex, but then again, I don't like much electronic music outside of Daft Punk.
I don't either. I only knew that because you guys wrote it. I really don't know the names of the people.
Let's see. That was definitely a fun project in terms of.
I think you did Michael Jackson for pop. I think you did.
What was that?
I think you did Michael Jackson for pop.
I think didn't a lot of people do Michael Jackson for pop?
I think everyone except for Monorail Red's team did Taylor Swift, which I was not really a big fan of her.
It bothers me that Taylor Swift has evolved from like a country star to like a pseudo rap musician. Isn't that what her music sounds like now? Doesn't she rap a lot?
I haven't really heard the new.
You know what? I have never listened to a singular Taylor Swift song in my life. Not one. Well, actually, that's not true. That's not true, because I remember there was this Breaking Bad parody of "We're Never Getting Back Together" with Walt and Jesse talking about their relationship. So I haven't heard the actual Taylor Swift song "We're Never Getting Back Together," but I did hear the Breaking Bad parody.
I just know the one with the llama that like goes. Have you heard that? Have you seen that? Yeah. That's like that's my extent of her. But anyway, so that was challenge 1. That was a fun one. It was good to get everyone's feet wet. Challenge 2 was the redoing the Seas with Nemo and Friends. which again, if everyone had submitted that one, MC Paradox had, if you go back and look at the thread, he had some ridiculous concept art that was just really well done. In the he might have even posted it in the competition thread. It was fantastic, and I really think that if his team had submitted for that one, they would have won. Because most of the project you had C-Tex did some concept art, which was pretty good too. Yeah, that was a short challenge. It was only a couple of days.
Oh, right.
Very much for that one. The first two were just to get everyone's feet wet. And the only people who were eliminated were people who didn't participate or left on their own. I think actually after 2 challenges, we had to disband a team because of no participation. I just think that it was because people were new and they didn't know how much, effort it had to take to do the competitions, or they didn't understand the PMs, because that was another thing we had to deal with, that they just didn't understand how they worked, which, okay.
It happens.
It happens with new people. But yeah, so I think 5 people were eliminated after 2 challenges, and then we went to challenge 3, which was one of my favorites, which was something I don't think I've ever seen on the forums before, going back and looking at old threads, which was redoing Universal Hollywood. Usually people do the Orlando Universal Studios if they're going to do a challenge on it. It's really cool, especially since that's the one with all those giant escalators.
You're saying that like it's a good thing. That park is a fucking mess of a layout. Trust me, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's the one with the giant escalators. Yes,
and I think your team won that challenge because you guys came up. Yeah, you guys won that challenge, and I think because I don't actually that was the challenge that Monroe Red's team didn't submit. So I think they lost a player from that. I think they lost.
Yeah, no, I remember. I was really, really proud of what my team put together. I don't exactly remember every single thing I know we did the Jurassic World expansion. We did a Back to the Future e-ticket, like physical ride, and not just a simulator and another simulator next to the spinny thing.
Yeah, you guys did. I remember the Jurassic World part. Because I think Jurassic World is at the bottom of the escalators, or Jurassic Park.
Correct.
Yeah, I remember you guys talking about that.
And it's right next to the Mummy, and it's also right next to Transformers, and the theming is just all the fuck over the place. So yeah, our whole thing was like basically having Jurassic World take up that entire first half of the lower lot, and then basically replacing Revenge of the Mummy. And then I honestly have no idea how Transformers would have fit in there, because Transformers is also in the but whatever.
I think Transformers, isn't that already in that park?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's in the lower lot. It's kind of like
I know
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, how would you have fit that in? That's all right. Realism.
Well, you know what? The Jurassic World, the movie, was all about people being bored of dinosaurs, and they need to come up with other things to put into there. So, fuck it.
Yeah.
Engine is designing Transformers now. That's it. There we go.
Oh yeah.
It's gone from animatronic dinosaurs to just full-on robots.
Oh yeah.
All right. And we also did some really good upgrades to the studio tour, if I remember. We restored the Kong set, which is something I think they should have done by now, except they're so obsessed with screens that they're just like, hey, instead of having a physical environment, why don't we just have it be 3D? No need to build anything then.
Yeah.
And then we had an ET soundstage, which is cool. I think ET should be represented in that park somehow because it's such an iconic Universal film.
Yeah. ET should be an E-ticket. Yes.
Well, it was before the Mummy came along.
Yeah. So that was I really liked that project just because it was something out of left field and something that a lot of people weren't even familiar with that park, so we provided a lot of.
I was intimately familiar with that park, so that's probably.
You had an advantage for that one because you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, these are exactly the problem areas that need to be fixed, and we're going to do it.
Yeah.
The only thing I still wanted to do is that I still think they should build some sort of big, like, rip ride rocket style roller coaster that goes around the escalators. Because those escalators are such an eyesore. Just give us something to look at. You know what I mean? Like, just give us something to look at as we're going down the escalators.
Or you can look at the mountains in the back.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like we get a great view of like the Hollywood Hills and like the expensive as hell real estate up there, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I remember in So You Want to Be an Imagineer season 5, we actually did this big twist that threw everyone off, where the last 3 challenges were all Universal challenges, and that was the first time we'd done anything Universal. And the whole concept was, hey, Disney has just switched you to Universal. What are you going to do about it? And I remember that was like a big game-changing twist. You know what I mean? Like, people were just like so like taken aback. Like, oh my God, we have to design for Universal now? So it's kind of funny to me in retrospect that Universal projects are sort of commonplace, mostly with the Florida park, as you mentioned. But you do see, generally, you see at least one Universal Studios project.
Yeah. And I think Matt's a huge Universal Studios fan. So I think I definitely think that contributed to why we had a couple of Universal. I think we had, we can get into that too. We were originally supposed to have 3 because there was supposed to be a part 2 to the Universal Hollywood.
What was the part 2?
Part 2 was, so in Challenge 3, we were going to tell you to keep an area open for further expansion. And then after the Halloween break, we were going to have you add a land based on, it could be based on an IP. I think one of the IPs that we were throwing around was Game of Thrones, which ended up morphing into the Netflix challenge.
Oh God, I failed at the Netflix challenge, and I would have failed at Game of Thrones as well.
Well, I think also that contributed to, if someone didn't watch the show or something, because it's a pretty graphic.
I have no problem with the graphic nature of it. I just have a problem with the fact that there's about 10,000 main characters in that show.
Yeah, so if someone wasn't following that as like a hardcore fan,
the thing that I always go back to is I remember renting the season 3 DVDs for my dad because my dad's super into it. And one of the special features on the DVD was meet the new characters in Game of Thrones season 3. And it was like this huge list of like 50 people. And I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah, it's just too much. It's like a class. I already have enough studying.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I've heard from people that do watch the show. It's like people just come back and you're just like, wait, who was that now? Where did he show up from?
Yeah, who?
Oh,
so yes, I think we ended up scrapping that one for. We ended up going with the Netflix one because it added more of a variety. People can choose.
Netflix was hard though, dude.
It was a hard challenge because what are you gonna do?
Every Netflix show is almost exclusively like borderline impossible to make it. Like, you're not gonna see Orange is the New Black, the ride. You know what I mean?
The ride.
I mean, I'm sorry, but a women's prison is just not a compelling theme park environment.
That is not a family.
Walking Dead prison, that would be a different story. But
House of Cards, the ride would be pretty cool.
Oh,
House of Cards, the show.
It'd just be Kevin Spacey around every corner, like, and now here's an analogy about killing animals and whatnot.
It'd just be Kevin Spacey monologue throughout the whole thing.
Pretty much. Oh, well, it'd be a simulator. It'd be a simulator.
Yeah, it's a simulator.
Spacey talking to you the whole time.
Yeah, so that was a hard one. The other ones we did were just briefly so that we can get to the final 4. We did the Wide World of Sports redo, which was very unique.
I mean, outside of Go Giants, yay, I have like no interest in sports.
Which is also why might be difficult for someone because not everyone.
Oh yeah. I'm someone that's like I said, it's like the San Francisco Giants are fucking awesome, and they're kind of on a roll in terms of like they've won the past. In the last 5 years, they've won every other World Series.
Yeah. So they're gonna win next year now.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's fine. The Royals won this year, and now it's going to be the Giants next year.
And then the Golden State Warriors actually won.
Are they 11-0? Are they 11-0 now? They were undefeated for a while this season.
Yeah, I don't know if they're undefeated still, but last year they won the finals, which was
they did. Yeah.
I don't even know. Is that what it's called? Just the finals? I don't even know what the NBA.
It's the finals. Yeah, NBA finals.
Okay, thank you.
They played LeBron. That's all you need.
Yeah. And that's all the fucking 49ers were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and they got their asses handed to them.
And now they're just terrible because they lost.
Thanks. Yeah, they were terrible for a long time, and now they're terrible again.
Well, they left their Candlestick Park. That was very historical. Now they're in this new.
It was. I know. Believe me. Here, that was a big deal for sure.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I wish they.
So anyway, enough sports talk.
Yeah, that was that challenge. We can move past that one.
Yeah,
it was a good one though. I liked that one. Mostly because I'm a sports fan, but also I did like how a lot of people turned it into like a fifth theme park, where they added rides.
Trying to do. Yeah,
it was pretty cool. Actually, I didn't expect it to go that route.
I'm going to be blatantly honest with you. The idea of going on a Walt Disney World vacation and going to the wide world of sports kind of makes me want to slit my wrist just a little bit.
It's not appealing to many people, mostly because they don't even have transportation.
Exactly. There's so many other things to do at Disney World. Yeah. It's like just the idea of going to like the sports complex where there's hardly anything to do besides like training fields. It's like it's the most boring thing I could possibly think of.
The only thing you go there for, the only thing, if someone's a sports fan in March, they have the Atlanta Braves spring training games. So you go to a game.
Right.
I mean, other than that, I think either the Dolphins or the Buccaneers, maybe, I don't know. Someone does.
It's all three of those teams are not necessarily the biggest names in their respective franchises.
Yeah, I mean the Braves, I guess, but not
certainly not the Dolphins. No.
Not the Dolphins. I don't even know if the Dolphins are there anymore. I don't know if they were there to begin with. I just may have been making that up. Mm-hmm. But I know a lot of high school teams go down there for competitions and stuff.
Well, that's actually good because a lot of the times what happens with theme parks is that, like, especially like cheerleading competitions and stuff like that. Like I went to Fright Fest at Discovery Kingdom this year when they were holding a cheerleading competition. I didn't know about it, and it was just awful. So I guess that's one good thing to actually have like a place to go for those sporting type events that's not in the theme park itself.
Yeah.
All right.
And I mean, so that was that one. With Netflix one we covered, we did the 2 holiday overlay ones, which I liked because, at least in my view, and I think Matt and Bach shared this too, it seems like Disney has the winter and Universal has Halloween as in terms of like the better, I mean, it's all subjective, but in the better terms of holiday.
No, I would not say it's subjective. I mean, come on, Halloween Horror Nights, that's the greatest thing ever.
It's better than Not So Scary Halloween Party that you have to pay for.
Halloween Horror Nights is better than sex, all right? It's awesome. I've just seen the videos of it.
Well, now that that's out there, that should be the tagline for all the
Halloween Horror Nights better than sex.
All right. Well, moving on from that.
No, but I really quickly, I did like what my team did with those 2 challenges where we did unconventional mazes with both of them. Like we did the Disney themed mazes, and then we did Universal. I was actually really proud of the fact that we did Christmas themed mazes, which actually you could picture working to a certain extent.
Even though like the mazes thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mazes are pretty cool.
That is just something that Disney needs to get in on.
Oh yeah, I know.
It pisses me off. It really gets under my skin in a major way that Disney's like the Not So Scary Halloween Party thing is like an exclusive event, and
it should be they should change it up. They shouldn't be afraid to maybe in like Hollywood studios or something have like they tried a villains night in August, but they should have it for Halloween. That'd be awesome if they every night like the villains took over and it was just like like they don't have to make it completely scary like Halloween Horror Nights, but they can make it a little bit more darker so that young adults and people can come.
Yeah,
It's very
horror
weird
nights in terms of the mainstream theme park industry stuff. That is by far the most extreme for sure. There's
yeah.
other extreme haunts in the country that are far worse than Halloween Horror Nights in terms of just the graphic stuff, and some of them are kind of sexual in nature, and I won't even get into how, but I've done my research. There's some pretty fucked up horror, haunts out there. But Halloween Horror Nights is definitely the one that I'd be comfortable going to, but still just being really impressed by.
Yeah. All right, and then now we're up to the individual challenges, which the first one, I liked this one. It was the New York World's Fair. If the New York World's Fair happened again this year, what kind of ride would Disney create for it?
Just keep talking.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Everyone seemed to gravitate towards the same type of genre, which was more towards progress, which makes sense. If I was going to do that project, I'd gear it more towards progress too. And I really liked the submissions from that one. And then we had the most recent challenge was the Animal Kingdom redo, which was I was a little bit I wasn't concerned, but I was confused at first as to how this was going to be reciprocated or how this was going to be received by the contestants, like how they were going to go about redesigning Animal Kingdom without animals. But I was very impressed and surprised that the submissions that I saw were really well done, and people took a very unique spin on it, which was pretty cool. Now we're at the finals.
So really quickly, just can you see that?
I can, yes.
Yeah, World's Fair token, 1964-65
cool.
World's Fair token.
Wow.
This is like one of my proudest possessions right here. This little piece of metal.
Nice. That is really cool. That's something that you got to keep.
Oh, I will keep this and cherish it forever. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, don't sell that. Even though you could probably.
I looked it up on eBay and it's only worth about $5. So because they produce so many of them.
Okay, then keep
it.
But
I'm never gonna sell it. No, absolutely
never
not.
do that.
I just randomly found it just lying in my backyard. I'm not even joking. It was just randomly just there. I just saw this shiny thing. I pull it out, and then I see the Unisphere, and I about shit my pants. And then I see like 1964, 60, and I'm like, what?
What is that doing in my backyard?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, my grandpa collects a lot of shit and puts it in the backyard. Like he'll collect like thrift shop style stuff and put it in the backyard. So I assume that's where this came from. I assume, but still, it's amazing that I found it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And also, I just want to point out, I really do like the fact that someone used the, what was it, the Holo something?
D-Squared did that, the HoloLens from Microsoft.
Yeah, the HoloLens, right. Because I actually just learned about that technology this week in my IT class. And
I honestly thought he made it up at first. I had to go look it up. I thought he just designed
one of the things, like, I saw the demo for it, and in class, I literally just blurted out, like, oh, that's some Tron shit right there. I'm not even kidding you. I blurted out in class, and that's some Tron shit right there.
That's pretty
and no one even knew what I was talking about. Oh,
shame.
But no, I just thought that was really funny how I just learned about that technology, and the first thing that ran through my head, besides it's Tron, was that they should totally use this in the theme park industry, and they did.
Yeah, well done.
So
all right, so we can just go in alphabetical order. We got Brer Panther, D-Squared, IDI, and R. Michael. Those are your
All
final
right.
4.
So we'll just kind of bullet point through these. We don't really have time to talk about their individual contributions and everything in terms of like a project per project basis, but
Yeah,
really
a lot of them are on this team too.
We're just going to kind of do broad strokes, like overall their impact throughout the year. So Brer Panther.
Yeah, I was really happy that he made it to the final 4, and I think based on his last project, if he can pull something together and do a really good job with it, he has a very good shot of winning. Just because he took a very unique spin, in my opinion, on the Animal Kingdom challenge. He basically he had asked everyone if you could use audio animatronic animals instead of real animals. He basically just made the entire park. He eliminated all the real animal attractions like Maharaja Jungle Trek, Kilimanjaro Safari, and just replaced it. Not those individual ones, but he would add audio animatronic animals and create different rides for those specific areas based on that. And I thought that was a really good, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Compromise.
Like not a shoehorn, but a loophole. Yeah.
Loophole. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because I thought that was a really unique spin that he did on that. And I really appreciate, number one, that he's continued through this entire year. His first competition, I think, on this board, because he came over with you, right? So you want to be an Imagineering. I think he was here before that, but he did the creator games, and I think he either just got busy or I remember he got voted out early, and he was really enthused about joining and stuff. He went to Sorcerer's Apprentice. I think he was the first boot out of that too, and that's when he joined 1984, and he got a little bit further in that, and now he's really progressed in this round. He's very good on his team. He actually came up with the winning component to the Rock and Roller Coaster Challenge. Queen basically won that challenge for them because it was by one genre that they won. They won 3-2.
Nice.
And it was his genre that basically put them over the top. So that was good. And basically throughout the entire season, he's been very consistent in his participation. The Challenge 7 he kind of just threw together, but at least he submitted something and got him here. So it all depends on how much he puts into this last project. If he puts in a lot, he's got a good shot.
Yeah, he always is definitely the type of person where he has the enthusiasm for sure. It was mostly just the detail that he was lacking early on. And even going back into So You Want to Be an Imagineer, I remember he did get pretty far in at least one season of So You Want to Be an Imagineer. But it's just one of those things where it's like, of course, like I was trying to go for a creative writing degree before I realized that would be incredibly useless and a waste of my time to go for something like that. But I was very into creative writing for a time. Honestly, I wish I could get back into it. I've kind of had writer's block for years, but it's like you have people like me, like England, like Jokers to a certain, like you have all these people on this board, Michael, who have just this fluid writing style to them, and so that's just kind of a hard thing to overcome when you're competing against them.
Absolutely, yeah. And we can even get into Michael too. I think that we can get into him now if you want. It doesn't really matter.
Sure.
To that, I think his writing is what's going to put him over the top if he ends up winning this, because his writing has been kind of the staple in Monorail Red's team when he was on it. He would write these great introductions. It would always be well organized, the presentations. And organization, while it might be a small component of, obviously the content has to be good in order to win challenges. Presentation, for me at least, if something's well organized, I can understand it a lot better than if it's just a chunk of text and I can't really figure out what's going on.
Wasn't there one project I submitted? Oh God, I want to say it was during the Creator Games where it was just a mess.
I don't remember. I mean, everyone has those. Everyone has those projects where.
No, I just remember it was like, I think it was me. God, if I'm remembering correctly, it was me, Sam, and Tequel. and I was just copy and pasting a whole bunch of stuff into this giant
Well,
block of
that
text.
was the Soul Imagineer because
So Imagineering.
I remember that was the 50th anniversary one.
Oh yeah, right.
There was just a ton of stuff on the thing. I remember that.
Oh, it was the worst project I've ever submitted anywhere. Okay, but no, our Michael is just incredibly consistent on this board. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think he's number one in the Elite Eight points, so he's going to be the top seed when we get to the Elite Eight in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah,
it's coming up.
Oh, yeah. So I mean, there's not really a ton to say about him. He's just always like you said, he's got a very distinct writing style to him. He knows how to organize projects and present them in a very.
If he pulls out a website or something, it's always very well organized too. He's done
if
a lot
he pulls
of.
Out a website, it's over. It's like just like that would be a major advantage for him. And I know because I cannot do those Weebly websites worth of shit. I have no idea how to run Weebly. So
it takes a while to get used to. I tried to get.
The last time I made a website using technology like that was like GeoCities back in the day. Like way back in the day. Back in like the ancient like pre-YouTube, pre-Facebook era of the internet. Oh dear. Isn't it sad that like the early 2000s feels like ancient history in terms of like internet time?
Well, the Monsters Inc. came out 2001.
2000.
So that was what's that?
Yeah, 2001 came out.
Yeah, something like that. But it came out in like November. I remember seeing it, and that feels like forever ago. That was 14 years ago.
Right.
I remember seeing it with Thanksgiving break. And Toy Story's 20th anniversary is coming up.
Which we're going to be doing a podcast about, so a little plug for that. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So anyway,
Fantasia's 75th anniversary, which is crazy.
Geez, a lot of anniversaries coming up.
Yeah. Okay, so is that about it for our Michael?
Yeah, I think he puts in the work. He's got a good shot. I feel like that's the same with everyone, but once you get to this point, it's really how much work you put into it, basically. Although I will say, for everyone, because this is a busy time of year, I'm sure everyone has tests and school and stuff, and before Thanksgiving, things can get hectic, so we're not really requiring you to write a novel about this. It's mostly about the idea, how the idea will translate into a unique park, basically. I mean, obviously, you can't just write a couple paragraphs because then nobody can get a good sense of a whole entire park. But you don't have to write.
I mean, you could do that. It just wouldn't be a very good project.
You might not win the project, but there's a happy medium where you don't have to go crazy. Like I said, you don't have to go scene by scene about the rides. If you want to put in ride A, just say you're putting it in and say what it is. You don't have to go, on scene 1 this happens. I don't really want to read that. So anyway, that's that. Next, I guess we can just go to D squared. And D squared.
Sure, let's just entirely fuck the alphabetical order. Just go backwards alphabetical. Let's just alphabetical be damned. Let's go to D squared.
We've gone. Let's just go to someone who's not even in the Final Four. Let's just mess everything up.
D squared is obviously my horse in this race. I've been working with him closely since I was his advisor. I wish that I could be helping him more. Like I said, I'm going to try and get on more this weekend and try and help him. I'm rooting for him because of the bragging rights. Like, yeah, he's on my team.
Yeah,
but also I'm rooting for him just because he's a relatively new person to this board, and I feel like he's made a big impact kind of right away. You know what I mean? I feel like in a year or two, he could have the kind of consistency that someone like our Michael or ID Institute will get to momentarily has.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. He, especially he's going to be in the Elite Eight too. just because of his performance in 2 competitions.
Right.
He finished, what is it, like 3rd or 4th? He made it to the end almost of the Sorcerer's Apprentice. I think the final 4 was him, Sam, and
That makes
Tickle,
sense. Yeah,
Carmine.
yeah.
So he made it. He got a lot of points from that, and then he's gotten to at least 4th place here.
And
So
I remember I was very impressed when I saw him kind of come onto the scene with the Sorcerer's Apprentice. He was easily like one of the standout people from that cast. I mean, especially because he was a new person and he was like doing a lot of work, but just in general, like just compared to everyone else, he was one of the standout people.
Yeah, and I think his work around the boards as well, aside from the competitions, doesn't get as much credit as it should, because he has a really good.
You know what? I think that's something I'd like to rectify with the boards in general. I don't think the stuff outside of the competitions in general gets enough recognition, and that's something that we always struggled with So You Want to Be an Imagineer as well. So
he has that what if thread going, where he basically each Saturday posts a new idea, which is really good to keep up with the competition and post a new idea each Saturday. That's pretty impressive for me.
Oh yeah,
and they're not bad. They're pretty good. They're pretty good ideas, and they're well thought out, well written. He's going to be good coming, not just in the Elite Eight. Whoever he faces, I don't even know at this point. I think he faces T-Cool, which would be actually a really interesting matchup.
That would be an interesting matchup because
actually, I'm thinking about it. That is a really cool matchup.
Yeah.
To me, T-Cool is really. I mean, he won Sorcerer's Apprentice, so he's really stepped up his game this year. I feel like D Squared is what T-Cool was last year.
Right, I hear that. Yeah.
Because T-Cool joined last year, I think. He joined Sorcerer's Apprentice. So it's kind of the same progression as D Squared is doing right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be good. All right, last person.
And finally, let's get to the winner of the Soul Imagineer and also the winner of 1984. So basically, he just didn't Basket Buddy win 1984?
Basket Buddy came in second.
What?
IDI came in second for 1984.
That's me not even remembering my own contest. Quality.
I didn't want to tell you that off air because you said that before, and I was like, I don't think you won. I just wanted to let you roll with it. That's all right.
I just assumed he was because obviously I know him so well as like the other big Survivor fan on the board besides me and Michael.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what he does in season 2 of Soul Imagineer, how far he gets.
It'll be interesting to see what I do as well.
I
know it's basically going to be like, the second that my team loses immunity, I'm probably going to be in trouble, but we'll see how it goes.
I just want to see how many people hold grudges from last year and just send the votes. You guys make.
I don't even necessarily think it's about holding a grudge. I just think it's about they know that we're going to play the game and we're going to be strategic.
Although I'm actually interested to see how many new players are going to be in that. Because, I mean, I didn't play last year, so I'd be in it. And I'm sure people like D Squared, Mickey Fan will all be in it, and they weren't in it last. Flippin' Flounder was looking forward to it.
Sure.
All players who are didn't compete in it last year, so it'll be an interesting dynamic.
And thankfully, Michael added in that Redemption Island twist.
I've actually never watched Survivor. I don't know what that means.
Oh, Redemption Island is the most hated twist in Survivor history, ironically.
I didn't know what it was.
Essentially, like what happens in a Redemption Island season is when someone gets voted out, they go to Redemption Island, and then basically every time a person gets voted out, then the 2 people on Redemption Island do a duel, like a challenge, and then the person that loses the challenge gets eliminated from the game, and the person that wins stays on Redemption Island. And so it'll go let's say it'll go 6 rounds, and then someone will come back from Redemption Island, and then it'll reset itself. I don't like it from a TV perspective, but as a player, I certainly like it as someone who's coming in with a big target on my back. I welcome it.
So if you like, let's say I go out the first round for some reason, and I go to a redemption island, I just stay there for the rest until he brings me back.
You'd have to win if you get voted out first, then you'd have to win every competition, every duel straight through until when he decides to bring someone back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's a challenge. It's a challenge for sure.
Oh, I was not expecting that. I thought it was just like
which is why like it kind of like it's basically like the further you get, you know, like someone who's voted out fourth will have an easier time of getting back into the game than the person who's voted out first. You know what I mean?
Right. That makes sense.
So the further you get, the less duels you'll have to compete in to get back into the game. So it's kind of like that. It kind of rewards you going further and further.
Okay. Well, that'll be interesting. That's coming up in a little January 1st.
Oh, dear God. Is it that soon? Oh, my God.
It's like a month and a half away. I like how we took IDI's time to just talk about other games. It's like, okay. No, but he, I don't even know what to say about that. She went on a tangent.
Well, honestly, I don't really have a ton to say about IDI just this season because I haven't really been.
I do have a fun fact to give you and to give everyone in the audience.
What's your fun fact?
Is that he was supposed to be voted out in like round 4.
What?
Because he didn't. There was one round, I think. I remember. It's either the wide. No, it wasn't the Wide World of Sports. It might have been the one before it or something. Yes, it was the one before it because that was the one where Monorail Red's team didn't submit because nobody on that team was doing anything. And basically, we had to decide based on how many like posts they did in the PM because they didn't get anything done. So IDI actually had the least amount of posts for that thread. So initially, we were like, well, this is not going to end well because he's going to get voted out again early. But then we looked back and realized that in Challenge 2, he basically was the one that brought everyone together. So we thought it was kind of unfair to eliminate him when there was another player who didn't participate since the first round, if that makes sense.
And I still consider me eliminating IDI and Sorcerer's Apprentice to be like a black spot on my judging resume.
No.
That just should not have happened. But
that's not really your fault. I mean, there's 3 people.
No, it was partially my fault. I was the one that was making the argument for it. It was partially my fault.
Well, we can have another conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just, now I just laugh about it, but I don't think anyone was laughing at that point. What was I gonna say? So yeah, no. So that was just a fun fact. I thought that was interesting how he made it all the way to the end. So good. He participated from then on out, and I figured he was gonna participate from then on out. I figured like everyone on that team didn't participate for that one round, so to single him out, especially since he was the rock of Challenge 2. It's like, right. Got to take something into consideration. So yeah, so that's him.
Okay, so do you have any sort of like, do you want to do a power rankings of the least likely to win to the most likely to win?
I'm never really good at these, to be honest.
Let's do a fantasy draft of the Final 4. Yeah!
2-on-2.
Because I'm always down to do a fantasy.
What a team.
Right.
Well, I had to say, based on...
Hold on. Let's make this official. Let's flip the coin to see who gets first pick. All right, pull in the air.
All right, sounds good. Tails never fails.
What? Tails never fails?
Tails never fails.
And you're right, it does never fail. So go ahead.
There we go. Well, since this is a tricky one because technically, if our Michael just never submitted, he'd still be the first seed for Elite 8. But he did come really close to winning Sorcerer's Apprentice, and I feel like he wants to win one this year, so I'm going to pick him first.
You bastard. Chose my pick.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry.
We're not friends anymore. You can't be on my podcast now.
Close off now. Gonna exit.
Let's see. So I have D squared, IDI, and Verpan. I'm gonna go D squared. I'll be loyal and stick with the guy who chose me to be his advisor. So yeah, I'll go D squared.
Well, with that said, I'm gonna go with the number 2 seed in the Elite Eight, which is IDI.
And I guess that leaves me with Burr Panther. So yeah, okay.
Excellent fantasy.
What happened with that?
that was award-winning.
That might have been the most inconsequential fantasy draft in the history of fantasy sports. We might have just made history right there.
We did.
Oh dear God. All right, so I don't think there's much left to say.
No, I think we covered it, and maybe after it's done, we can talk about the results and going into the Elite Eight.
Well, I definitely want to do a podcast. I'll just kind of to round it out. I'll just kind of get everyone up to speed on what I'm planning on doing with the Imagineering videos. I definitely want to do a podcast about every person in the Elite Eight and their contributions throughout the year. Obviously, we'll be covering Sorcerer's Apprentice. We'll be going back to the Soul Imagineer Tribal Council. So yeah, look forward to all that. I want to start doing more Disney stuff as well, just in general on my channel, but that's for another time. Anyways, folks.
2016.
So thank you, Space, for joining me, and
thanks for having me.
And thank you guys for watching, and join us on Sunday, by the way, for our big Toy Story 20th anniversary retrospective podcast. And in the meantime, everyone, keep on dreaming and whatnot, because I have no slogan to go out on for these Imagineering videos.
That was a good outro. I like that one. Keep on dreaming.
Keep on dreaming, everyone.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, see you guys.